and thank you for tuning in to today's episode. My name is Barbara Clyburn, and I'm a third-year student at Western University College of Dental Medicine in Pomona, California. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Southern California. I've been here all my life. For undergrad, I attended La Sierra University in Riverside, California, where I majored in psychology and had minors in biology and neuroscience. After my time at La Sierra, I completed my Master's of Public Health with a dental emphasis at A.T. Still University, which was a 2-year online program that I really enjoyed. A little bit about me and things I enjoy. I enjoy cooking, spending time with friends and families, and always love a good brunch, swimming, and concerts. One thing that I really appreciate about my undergrad experience is that I went to a school that allowed us to make our campus what we wanted it to be. So, for example, on our campus, it was a Christian school, but we did not have any real gospel music representation. So, one of my most proudest accomplishments from undergrad was that we started a student-led gospel group that traveled over Southern California and sung at various churches, which was a lot of fun. So I was about 11, 12 years old. Unfortunately, I was one of those children who constantly had cavities, so I had a number of experiences with dentists. However, it was something about my ortho experience that really flipped a switch for me. I found myself being very interested in the instruments he was using and the cause and effect of the different movements he was doing with my teeth made sense. So that's when I really realized I think I like this. That further developed during college when I was a participant in what is now called the Summer Health Professions Education Program, aka SHPEP. At the time, it only had a medical and dental focus, but now it's expanded so much to include nursing, physical therapy, and so many other health professions. That was a really life-changing experience for me because it was the first time in my life that I had attended an enrichment program. This is a 6-week paid internship at various campuses around the country. In addition to that, it was the first time in my life I was surrounded by other first and second year college students who looked like me, who were on the same trajectory as me of wanting to become doctors. So I highly recommend, if you are a freshman or sophomore, that you look into that program. My advice concerning this exam would be to set yourself up for success. So most students will take it during the summer because generally you aren't taking classes. My advice would be that you don't have to work, that you pause on work. I, at the time, was working a job that actually had summers off, so that was conducive for my studying. But just know that it's okay to make sacrifices for your future. I've had a lot of friends who've had to make hard decisions about, taking time off work or even sometimes resigning from a job, but remember what your long-term goal is. I personally have had the experience where I've worked jobs that were not fulfilling for me and eventually got in the way of me matriculating into dental school. So I think if you know early that this journey will sometimes require sacrifices, it will require saying no to things, it will require declining things that really don't set you up for success as it relates to your ultimate goal. I think the earlier you learn that, the easier it is to say no to the things that aren't conducive to your ultimate goal of getting into dental school. So set yourself up for success. If anything, if you don't have to work or take classes, I would highly recommend that. I personally used DAT Bootcamp, which was a good resource for me and ultimately worked well. My other advice would just be to know that if it doesn't happen the first time, it's okay. I personally had to take the DAT twice. So just know that the score does not define you. I think that's the most important thing to know. I remember getting one of my scores back and just really feeling like dental school is not obtainable for me, and that it was not possible. And I actually ended up getting an interview that year. So don't count yourself out. You're more than your score. In all honesty, my grades and DAT stats weren't the best. However, what I do believe set me apart from other students was one, I worked as an oral health educator for 3 years, where I went into low income elementary schools and pretty much taught them about the importance of brushing and flossing and oral hygiene care. And then after my visits, a dentist would come and visit and do treatment. So I think that was a special experience because that's an experience a lot of students don't have. So if I would make a guess, I think that helped me stand out. In addition, I did have to apply to dental school twice. My advice for anyone who's a reapplicant is that you reach out to the schools that you formally applied to and see what the deficits in the application were so that you can work to improve them your next time. One of the main things that applications should not be is repeated. So you do not want to send the same application again. If you're a reapplicant, you want to make sure something's changed. You've done something to improve your application. For me, it was seeking out mentorship. It was retaking my DAT, and it was finishing up my prerequisites. But in addition to that, I remained in contact with the schools rather that I would be reapplying to so that they would know where I was on my journey. And it also helped them get to know me a little better. In my case, I also did attend the pre-dental days. For Western, it's called Preview Day, but there's other local schools who near you who would have those types of days too. So I highly encourage for the schools you're interested in applying to that you consider attending those preview days. So there are I'm going to say 3 days as it relates to dental school that you will never forget. It's going to be your interview day, your acceptance day, and the day you graduate, right? So my interview day at Western, this was my only interview I received, but I'm eternally grateful for it. My interview day at Western started with a nice breakfast. We got an overview from the director of admissions about the different programs and activities offered on campus. We also got a nice introduction that morning from the students and faculty who would be interviewing us. They all introduced themselves prior. And then after that, I remember being in the first group of interviewees. So I interviewed early that day. And following the interview, we had a tour of the school and lunch. So it was a really light but nice day. The interviews at Western are closed file as of now. That means that when you are being interviewed, your interviewers do not have your application in front of them. And I think that can be a very good thing for most students because they're really more than anything trying to see who you are as a person. How do you come across in conversations? What are your communication skills like? And it really gives them an opportunity to get to know you as a student, as a person, more importantly, compared to your stats, your grades, your writing skills. So it was a very relaxed interview. In fact, it was 30 minutes long, I specifically remember, and it just felt like a conversation, and I loved that because it ebbed and flowed really well, and any nerves I had quickly went away. So that was my interview experience at Western. Be yourself. The application, again, is closed file, and you'll be interviewed by a student and a faculty. So you will be talking to 2 people, and more than anything, they really want to just get to know you. So let them know you. Tell them about your interests. When you find opportunities to connect and banter about something, take that opportunity, right? Because I don't know the experience at other schools, but Western, for certain, is really interested in humanism. That is one of the values of the school, meaning that we want people who are good clinicians, but even more importantly, are good people, who will be able to connect with patients, who will be able to respectfully engage with faculty and other students. So you want that to come across in your interview very strongly, in addition to knowing the mission and the vision of the schools you're interviewing at. My other advice would be to not ask questions that are available to the public or that are found on their website. It will very much appear that you did not do your homework. So you want to make sure you're well informed on the school. And then the questions you ask can be questions that weren't necessarily available or that you couldn't find elsewhere. But you definitely want to show that you did your homework. Those would be my pieces of advice for interviews at Western. The number one reason was that it was the only school that offered me an interview. And for many of you, that might be the case too, and you simply have to accept what is offered to you in gratefulness. In my case, I was very grateful for Western because they were one of my top choices. In addition, as I said earlier, I'm born and raised in Southern California, so my entire support system is here. And I really didn't want to have to leave my support system if I didn't have to. So Western sending the interview invite and ultimately the acceptance letter was truly an answered prayer. One thing that I believe makes Western stand apart from other schools is the fact that, one, we are exposed to community-based dental education at a very early age in our curriculum. So from D1 year, you're doing volunteer hours and just finding opportunities to serve the community, all the way up to D3 and D4 year. Well, you will go on a rotation to various federally qualified health centers across the state of California and some in other states. But it's a great opportunity to be exposed to just the needs of communities around us, and it also helps you get your speed up as you're working in these clinics under the supervision of a dentist. In addition, we have a part of our, we call it CSL, but it's Community Service Learning. We have a pediatric clinic, so most of us beginning our third year begin treating there. Actually, your whole third year, you go about once or twice a month to these pediatric clinics and you treat children. So we're getting a lot of exposure to peds as well. I think one of the things that also make Western stand apart is that we do not have residencies on campus. What this means is that anything that comes through our doors at our pediatric clinics or at our dental center in Pomona, you as a student are seeing that, and you're able to treat it and get exposure to those types of cases. So, for example, I've already done an implant as a D3 student. I've done quite a few extractions, and that's just a few experiences that I had that perhaps other students aren't getting as early, if at all. So I think that definitely makes us special and stand apart from most schools, the exposure and the experiences that you get during your time at Western. Actually was not as bad as I thought. One of the other unique aspects of Western's curriculum is that we're on the block system, meaning that your D1 year, you only take one science at a time, which is amazing because you're getting the handle and hang of dental school and what the amount of studying that is required of you. So it's nice to be able to do that with one science class, and then you're taking your service learning and your Essentials to Clinical Dentistry course simultaneously, which is equivalent to our sim lab. So I was terrified when I started dental school because I really struggled in my sciences in undergrad, and I just thought that because I struggled there that I would struggle here, and actually it was the opposite. I've excelled in my didactic courses. It's actually been my clinical skills that have been taking a little bit more time to develop, but that just comes with time and practice. So the transition was not bad. I definitely encourage, if as you're applying to schools, ask the question if they're on the block system or not, because that will make a world of a difference in terms of the load that you will be under during your program. So the transition wasn't bad. And then by D2 year, that's the only year, I believe our first semester, we had two sciences at once, but it never was 3, 4, or 5, which was very nice. what I remember my D1 year looking like, first of all, we were one of the COVID classes. So up until my D2 year, we were essentially on Zoom and would only come to campus for sim lab. So, but it's pretty much the same in the sense that now our current D1s are actually on campus. But my year, what it looked like is in the mornings is when we would have our didactic courses. Sometimes they would be every day, sometimes they would be a few days a week, because on the block system, instead of taking the class for the entire semester, you have it squeezed into a few weeks, but it's just that class, so it's very focused. So we'd have our didactics in the morning, and then generally about 2 to 3 times a week in the afternoon, we would go to sim lab. So it was a nice balance, and what I appreciated actually throughout my entire dental experience, I very much have been able to maintain my personal life. So I haven't had to make a lot of sacrifices concerning time with family and friends, or even special events. My advice would be just to really plan your time well. Dental school, more than anything, you must be on top of your time management. You must know when your projects are due, when your exams are happening, when quizzes are happening. So have a schedule. We personally at Western use the Google Calendar, so it lets us know when our classes are, where they're at. And what I do for myself is I plug in my personal stuff either after then, before then, or in between it, so that I'm still making sure I'm on top of my schoolwork, but also maintaining the other things that matter to me. So having a good schedule, using planners, calendars, whatever you need to do to stay on top of everything, I think can very much make your experience better, to where you're not overwhelmed by dental school, but you're still very much engaged and on top of the things that you must do. So that was our typical day during D1 year. And we got, I can't remember how many units we took, but you still get done with all the units that you need to complete as a first year dental student. So you're taking all the classes that students are at other schools. It's focused on one science at a time. And that makes a world of a difference. So for my breaks, specifically my weekends, I would go really, really hard during the week, to where I would be up at like 6:30, working out, having my devotional time, having breakfast, hopping on Zoom at 8. Usually would be done by 11. Western consistently has our lunch break from 12 to 1, so there's never any classes planned between that time. And then generally 1 to 5 we would have something again with our ECD course. But classes end at 5 o'clock, so the time after that and what you do with it is yours. You want to use it wisely, of course. So that it was how my first year looked like. Dental school in itself can be very hard, and you have so many things coming at you at once. But doing it with people who are compassionate, who are empathetic, who are humans at the end of the day, makes all the world of a difference. During my D2 year of 2002, my father unexpectedly passed away. So you can imagine this is the hardest year of dental school, and I'm literally experiencing the biggest loss of my life thus far. I will never forget the love and support I received, not only from my classmates, but the administration. My classmates went as far as raising money for me and my family to just help whatever we needed it for, and I will never forget that. In addition to that, during that time, the faculty and administration were very warm to me, in the sense of just saying, Barbara, whenever you're ready to come back, we're here, there's no rush, and we will get you caught up and do whatever we need to do. And I appreciated that, because I did not have to choose between my education and my health, in the sense of my emotional and mental health that was definitely impacted at that time, and still is. But I think the support and the people at Western U make the difference. Our classmates are very down to earth. We help each other. We share flashcards with each other. We share study guides with each other. And I appreciate that, though every class will have its gunners, I appreciate the fact that we are in this together. When one of us are struggling, we take that personally. At least I do. and will do what I can to help, my classmate or fellow, because the goal is for us all to graduate, right? We started this together, we want to end this together, so that's what I'm most excited about Western Union, is the people, and I think the humanism is definitely felt as it relates to just life happening, and the fact that just because you're a dental student doesn't mean that life stops. So I appreciate that most about my school. Well, that concludes my interview for today. I hope you feel encouraged and inspired to continue the journey that you are now setting upon, and just knowing that if I could do it, you can too. If you'd like to reach out to me, my Instagram handle is ToothFairyB, as in Barbara. Again, that's TOOTHFAIRY, B as in Barbara. I'd be happy to talk to you guys. In addition, I'm also a National Health Service Corps scholar, which is a full ride scholarship, including tuition and fees, in exchange for serving in a underserved community of your choice. So be happy to talk to you guys about that, and just help in any way that I can. Alrighty, take care. Good luck.